welcome. Tell us your name and tell us about your job and how you got into it.
Well, my name is Gage Schlice, and I started my career as a firefighter in the early 2000s. I was a firefighter for years, from wildland firefighting into structural firefighting. And about in 17 years or so of being a firefighter, I decided to transition to fire prevention. It's more code-driven and construction-driven, and I saw the challenge and I thought I would be really good at it and enjoy it. So I moved into prevention, and I've been a fire marshal now for a little over 7 years.
Wow.
So taking the building codes and the fire codes, we specifically focus on the fire codes of any kind of new construction project. So rather new inspections or existing inspections, the Fire Prevention Bureau, which is run by the fire marshal, goes out and do fire inspections, annual fire inspections on occupancies to make sure they're fire safe. On the other side of it, we do new construction inspections and new construction plan checks and new construction meetings. So if you want to build a new building, you have to meet all the newest fire code regulations and codes. Time is of the essence, right? Time is money for a lot of these developers. So trying to get stuff done quickly, and efficiently is probably the most important part. But fire prevention as a whole, we just look after people's safety. Codes are always evolving. They're always changing. The complexity of the codes back in the early 70s or 60s when this house was built were vastly different than they are now. With codes, they get more strict, at least here in California, when tragedy happens. When something happens, they want to prevent that from happening again. So over the years, codes have gotten stricter and stricter and stricter, not to punish people or to make things hard for people to build stuff, is just to make everything safer for them. Yeah, I'd like to say that we've prevented every fire. When we go out there and we find violations, we have people fix them. And so I want people to go to these businesses and not have to be afraid of something happening to them.
Yeah.
Like everything that goes into a hotel room that you have no idea, as a fire code official, I go to a hotel room and I see all the features that we've always requested.
Yeah.
And nobody ever sees the stuff. But it's stuff that we put in there to prevent, bad things from happening.
Totally, yeah. So I'm curious if you could speak a bit to the problems that exist. So like when I learn more about the industry, there's the complexity of the codes. I also feel like almost every fire department I talk to and a fire prevention team is understaffed given the amount of work that exists. And so curious how you think about the problems today of being able to be like life safety code compliant.
Fire departments usually funded for emergencies. The fire prevention departments aren't nearly as highly funded. People don't necessarily notice what we do all the time. They know we follow the code and we go out and enforce the code. Generally speaking, the fire prevention departments across everywhere are usually underfunded and understaffed. They require more and more of us every single year. And we as fire prevention departments have to be creative on how we handle our business, how we get things done. And it's hard to get all the, here in California, we have state mandated inspections where we have to go out and inspect certain occupancies based on the state fire marshal. We have to get that done no matter what. And we have to do new construction inspections, and we have to do plan checks, and we have to do inspections of the building under construction, and we have to deal with problems that come up. So I always tell people, if you don't like doing work, don't be in fire prevention, because it's never ending work.
Yeah.
And it feels like no matter how much you do, it never goes away. But I find that rewarding because it's different every day and you're helping people.
Unless there's a material change in additional staff or technology, do you think it'll be possible to keep up with the ever-changing demands of construction in the next 5 years?
I find it becoming increasingly more and more difficult. The code's always changing, so every single 3 years, a new code cycle comes out. So you have to almost relearn the code and or look at what they added to the code or took away from the code. So it's ever evolving. And every single jurisdiction has their independent or municipal code or independent changes to the code based on their local jurisdictions. Here we're in a very hilly area, Their codes look differently than as an area that's in the middle of the desert, because geographically they're different, so they have different standards. So it becomes very difficult, I think, for contractors to build in different jurisdictions because everybody has their specific amendments to the code as opposed to just the fire code itself. It's becoming harder and harder to keep up. One of the things that I like to do the most is try to find ways to be more efficient. And everything that we can find to shave off minutes and minutes and minutes adds up over weeks, over months, over years, and you can save so much time by being efficient.
When it comes to AI in your day-to-day, and you have a team of fire plan examiners, fire inspectors, and the like that work for you, how do they use AI in their day-to-day, and what kind of impacts are you seeing from that?
Let me give you an example. Back in the day, when we'd sit in meetings with developers, they would ask us questions. And it was perfectly acceptable for us to be like, that's a great question. Let me go back and research it. And next meeting in 2 weeks, I'll let you know their answer to it. So that gave me time to go back to the office to research it, come up with a thing, because researching code and going through code is very tedious, and it can be difficult. So that just delays the progress. But having a software like Ichi to be able to type something in a question real quick and see all relevant code sections related to it just saves that time. You might be able to sit down with actually the contractor and both go over the same screen and look and type in questions and come up with an answer right then and there, rather than having to wait 2 weeks. So it just helps speed things along and helps make you more proficient.
How do you see Ichi or AI helping to train or educate newer staff members to become proficient in fire prevention more quickly?
We do have a lot of new people. They are more tech savvy than say the older people in my office. And them being able to use a software to be able to find an answer right then and there is very beneficial for them. So by typing in a question and getting an answer, and then being able to go and hover over where the code snippet it came from, and then verify that yes, that is indeed what that code means, is super beneficial to them. And it helps them maybe learn the code a little better, because they might have known one specific section that referenced, say, fire sprinklers, but they didn't understand that there might be 3 or 4 other sections elsewhere in that huge binder that references the same question. So to get a really good answer and a response, you should research all of those answers. So it's really nice to use a tool like Ichi to find all the relevant code sections that pertain to that question. It's not so black and white where we can figure out what we need to do for the building. It's very complex. So having a tool like Ichi is very beneficial to get through that process.
Why is it important to build something that's purpose-built for this industry to be able to trust it? Is there something unique or special in this industry that really requires this special touch?
Codes in this particular incident are very important, because you can go to the Google machine and type in a question, but now you're pulling that data from all random sources. You don't really necessarily know where it's coming from. You don't even know if the information is correct. Some guy could have wrote it in a blog and they're just pulling the data from it and giving you an answer. So by having a specific software that only references the code, the standards, and reliable sources, I think that narrows down that chance for error. So what it spits out, or the answer it gives you, is more, for lack of a better word, it's correct, or it's closer to being the right answer, where it's just not a made-up answer based on information that's scrubbed from the web.
Yeah.
Using specific standards and codes to get the right answer is important. You don't want to give people the wrong information.
Awesome. If you think over the next 5 years, or maybe even 10 years, what kind of impact do you think AI and technologies like Ichi will have in this space?
I wish I had that crystal ball.
Yeah.
People are scared that AI is going to take over, right? They'll get rid of jobs. It'll get rid of the human being part of the job. But in my specific field, I don't think that's actually the right answer. I think that it'll be used as a tool to make us more efficient. Like I mentioned, everything's about efficiency. So in 5 or 10 years, I see Ichi or any of the other AI platforms get better and better and better at modeling, get better and better at spitting out an answer, get better and better at evolving and, and helping out both sides of the builders and the building officials and the fire marshals, and help collaborate and get things built faster and better. I don't have time to spend 2 hours researching code sections. So anything that I can find technology specific that makes my job easier, I'm going to research. And I'm that type of guy, if I don't know about it, I'm going to research it so I know everything about it. But I think Ichi at its spot now is absolutely amazing.